For those of you who aren't aware, MCM Expo is run by a company called ReedPop. They are the biggest UK convention scene right now. They do conventions in London, Birmingham, Manchester, Scotland. I'm not sure if they still do it. I think Glasgow is one they used to do, but they stopped doing. I'm not sure if they brought it back or not. I've not kept up to date with that one. They're not the only one. There are other conventions like MegaCon that do run in the UK, like CooperCon, independent ones like GetACon. But like MCM are like the biggest ones out there, right? And recently there was a video on Instagram saying that the parent company for ReedPop are essentially data brokers that are selling information, well, not selling information, providing information to ICE to help conduct raids. So I want to show you the TikTok video first of all. I'll bring it up. So let's play. Watch this.
This MCM Comic Con was brought up by ReedPop in 2017, and along with it came a whole slew of anti-consumer practices like rapidly rising ticket prices and fencing off even the area outside the cons.
Can I pause it real quick? No, I can't pause it on Instagram.
Despite various grumblings among the
Okay, I want to quickly talk about a few things, but I can't pause it. Oh, I can. Okay. So first things first, the person who posted it is called Hex. Just for full transparency, I know a lot of information about this person that has been provided me by a lot of people now, actually. They are not a good person, someone I can't really recommend. They've done a lot of things which... Okay, I don't have permission to talk about a lot of it. They've done things like have been trying to charge for photos at conventions, which is something that goes against terms of services, and they have been kicked out of conventions repeatedly for that. But they have also done things such as... There's a lot of things involving their ex-partner, which I'm not going to go into because she's a whole other can of worms. But they were both terrible people. There was one thing that they've done very publicly, which does sour me on this person completely. So they were accused of racism a while back because they only took pictures of skinny, young, attractive white people. And in response to that, they started posting loads of pictures of overweight black people to prove some kind of point. I'm not sure what that point was. But that's one example of things that they have done that makes me not want to associate with this person. But at the same time, I'm going to take whatever information they give with a pinch of salt and somewhat look at it critically and see if there's any truth to information being presented. Give me a moment. I've been given a lot of information from different people. I need to try and sort my way through this now. Genuinely just harassed a lot of people I know. And I know it to be true because the things one person has said to me essentially corroborates with something another person has also said. So no, I can't share this information. That's fine. You're gonna have to take my word for it. Not a great person, but I'm also gonna look at this information that they have presented and see how much truth there is to it. And before I begin as well, I just want to talk about one more thing, right? So this orange image they have, right, about there will be nowhere to sit at MCM London this weekend. They use this sort of orange filter on photos and this type of font and layout for like announcements on their social platforms, right? However, this one specific picture actually isn't a real one. It's a fake one that I made. That's my friend Shannon in that picture that I just edited into one of the social media posts, and it somewhat went viral. But I was making fun of the fact that there was a convention a few years back, I think it was the last time she actually went, where not only was it overcrowded, but they didn't provide anyone with chairs or anywhere to sit in the halls, right? So there literally was nowhere to sit down. And she obviously is in a wheelchair, so the whole overcrowding thing was difficult enough for her. But people who have mobility issues but don't use a wheelchair, so people who have mobility aids like a walking stick and whatnot, were really fucking suffering because there was literally nowhere to sit apart from the floor. Not everyone can sit on the floor, which is why that particular MCM was one I was more than open about making fun of. Funniest thing as well, after I made this post, I still got approved for Creator Pass, so who knows if I'll still get approved for Creator Pass after I make this video. But I'm going to carry on playing it now real quick.
MCM community, I never actually stopped to look too deep into what sort of company ReedPop is. I thought their only crime was being a typical profit-driven company that prioritized its shareholders over customers, but I was frankly naive. They are so much worse than that. Now, MCM Comic Con is definitely one of the biggest events in the UK by attendance, and it's currently...
You can see there just how fucking overcrowded it is, and they do this all the time. They sell tickets online until they're sold out and they're at capacity, right? But then they'll also then again sell tickets on the door, despite the fact that they are already at capacity.
by Reed Exhibitions. As well as running several Comic Cons around the world under the brand ReedPop, including PAX Cons and the New York Comic Con, Reed Exhibitions itself is the world's largest trade show exhibitors, running 500 different shows across the world. This is where things get tricky. Reed Exhibitions is one of 4 divisions of the company RELX, and their lowest revenue part too. Where RELX really makes their money is from data analytics. Through the acquisition of LexisNexis in October 1994, they now own the world's largest legal and public records-related database. LexisNexis has more than a fair share of problematic privacy-related issues, from collecting data without consent, data breaches as recent as December last year, and collecting excessive personal data not just from public records, but allegedly social media usage and even car usage. Most controversially, that data is now being sold to ICE to spearhead their attack on the rights of US immigrants. Because as well as the database itself, LexisNexis also offers a whole suite of AI machine learning tools to predict high-risk areas and even potential criminals. Obviously, because AI has never demonstrated excessive bias or discrimination in the past. The over-reliance of this database doubtlessly plays a huge part in the number of mistaken deportations of legally documented immigrants in the US. Despite various petitions from academics and activists, LexisNexis continues to uphold their contract with the American government and allow them to continue to use their service for the continued violation of human rights in the US. It's shocking that something like this has taken root in the heart of what should have been community-led fandom events. RELX, and by extension ReedPop, represent the antithesis of what Comic-Con is supposed to stand for, a space for any fan of popular media to come together to freely talk and connect over their shared interests without fear of prejudice. They, like so many corporate players in the convention scene, have demonstrated a stark indifference in the communities that make their events what they are. How does this?
So that was the whole video, basically. And before I begin talking about it, I just want to say one thing for anyone, because I know there's a convention coming up in October, MCM, and people have already paid for that and booked tickets, and it's a big investment already. But I just want to preface by saying that if you do still attend MCM or have already bought tickets, I'm not going to fucking demonize you or tell you off or tell you that you should be boycotting them or not. If you want to boycott, absolutely fine. Like I mentioned, there are many reasons to want to boycott them, for the fact that they are so profit driven to the point where the experience is getting worse and worse every year. The fact that they absolutely do not provide proper accessibility for disabled people, that's one of the biggest reasons to boycott them. But I know a lot of people who are artists who essentially make their living by going to conventions like this and selling artwork, and I'm not going to discourage people from going to conventions and stuff. Well, I will do, actually. No, I will. I'm going to walk that back a little bit. I will discourage you. If you pay £200 for a fucking ticket to go to a convention, and you spend your money on nothing but Funko Pops and mystery bags, fuck you, honestly, at that point. No, in that case, I will say fuck you. If you're spending that much money, at least go to Artist Alley and, support the independent artists that are literally making these events worth going to in the first place. Other than that, I'm not going to demonize anyone for still wanting to go, still want to support them. If you want to boycott them, you can boycott them. I'm not going to stop you from doing that either. But yeah, this person I've already mentioned, not a great person, but I'm not going to let that taint my view or any information they're given. I want to look more into this. So they posted a bunch of links here on their link tree in regards to the information, which I'm going to go through myself. But then I also have some other information I want to look into posted by other people. So I want to try and be objective and as fair as possible. See whether or not it's worth some, if it's something that people don't want to support. Because, fuck ICE, right? Everyone fucking hates ICE. Nobody would want to willingly support them. And I know people would have a very big issue if they knew that their money going towards this company would end up indirectly supporting, spearheading ICE raids, like that video apparently claims. So let's look into the first link here, which is this one. In the Circuit Court of Cook County, Illinois, County Department, Chance, Damage to Injustice Relief Introduction. Okay. This is LexisNexis Risk Solutions. This is the company that he mentioned as part of the parent company. Now, I believe this is about the data breach. Okay, this is a link to legal document. This is about, Lexis, the Nexus data breach. Here we go. This is a bit about ICE. The officers who have access to this data include Immigration Custom Enforcement ICE employees. 22 million contact with LexisNexis. Okay. ICE employees may use to search hundreds of millions of utility records, including cell phone, water, electricity records, to investigate fugitive immigrant violations. All this is done in the absence of warrants, subpoenas, and court oversight. Okay. So I think this is the big main, meat of where they're getting the idea from, right? I'm going to be skimming. I'm not going to read the entire thing because there's a lot of documents, and this is 33 pages. So I'm going to skim through and try and point out information that we need to look into. So So these are companies that do have information on immigrants that's probably essentially being handed over to ICE, from the looks of it. But the question we're looking for is, how much does supporting ReedPop and MCM impact any of this? Ah, this is a paywalled article. This is one of the most annoying things to ever deal with online, but if there's ever information that you need access to online and it's hidden behind a paywall like this, what you want to do is you want to open another tab. You want to go to this website, which is, a very handy archive of online websites. And let's say, you know what, I don't want to look at the live version, I want to look at the archived version of this website. If I paste it here, oh damn, look at this, it's here for free. RELX is the one where, so RELX is the parent company of ReedPop, which run MCM Expo. You might not be familiar with RELX, but it's not all about you. Read RELX. Read Elsevier LexisNexis. I'm listening ReedPop, Elsevier LexisNexis. So RELX is a combination of multiple companies. Okay, this is probably where they got the information of it being directly a result, because RELX itself is more of a conglomerate and not like an oversight seeing body or something from the looks of this. RELX exploit a lack of data privacy laws to make millions of dollars building data products to sell to cops, your employer, your landlords, your insurance companies, and all sorts of other institutions and overlords. I'm guessing this is the key takeaway they got from this. And it did specifically mention surveilling immigrants here as well. Police have abused LexisNexis system spy and X's and even this is why we say ACAB, blackmail women using the personal information the company policing products provide. Using RELX products for data surveillance is problematic because the company funnels a deluge of unfiltered, unvetted data through biased data processing algorithms. A combination of bad data and bad algorithms lead to government systems that bake historically racist, xenophobic policing practice outcomes into a Minority Report like digital policing dystopia. What's the other link he posted? This is why I hate fucking paywalled articles, right? Because misinformation is free. That's why we get people falling for misinformation all the time, because the actual information is behind a fucking paywall. No one's gonna pay for that, right? Drop your ICE contracts. Let's have a look. No tech for ICE. We are law professors, librarians, attorneys, and law students who are deeply concerned about the role that Thomson Reuters and RELX are playing in human rights abuse against immigrants. ICE is relying on the data and technology provided by your legal search engines to track and arrest immigrants on a massive scale. Oh, this is more for this is more of a petition. So this doesn't really give any more information that way. You can get rid of that one. So they're urging the Department of Homeland Security, Counter Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, $22 million contract with data broker giant LexisNexis. Is set to renew later this month. When was this published? What's the date on this? February 23. So has it been done or not? I'm not sure. This is somewhat out of date. Might get rid of that one. Okay, this is June 2023. Okay. Do I want to give them my email? I don't want to give them my email either. That's the same as paying with my information, which is not what I want to do. So back we go to archive.ph. The irony, right, of putting a fucking article behind a wall that's, about breaches in data protection and data harvesting, and then asking you to give an email so they can allow you to see it. LexisNexis is providing US Immigration and Customs Enforcement with tools to target people who may potentially commit a crime before any actual crime takes place. According to a contract document obtained by the Intercept LexisNexis data. Okay. 16.8 million agreement. Okay, so it's gone down from 22 million. They're paying less for it now. What, Hang on, when was this? No, this is 2023. They're actually paying more now. They've gone up from 16 to 22 million. I mean, I also have a dedicated email for these kind of websites. It's called info@animeleague.com. Right, look, this is what I'm after, the updates. June 21st, 2023. The story has been updated to clarify that Thomson Reuters Special Services was contracted in 2021 for a license to... okay. June 23, 2023. The story has been updated to include specifics on the types of data LexisNexis makes. Available to ICE. That could allow agency... geolocate and track... okay. So the only difference since then is that, oh, we're more transparent about it now, but we're still doing it. Suffers data breach. We've seen the legal document for that one. We don't need to know more about this. Alright, this is a story someone else put up. I'm moving on to my next bit now. A user called Berserk Sloth addressed the whole video that the other user put up. I have a lot to say about this and did so earlier today on Close Friends, but I'm going to make these public. I did some very basic digging, and essentially Hex, which is a person who posted the original video, which I already mentioned, is a whole other can of worms and very problematic, someone you shouldn't support. You're the most unreliable narrator I've ever witnessed in my entire life, bar one. Other. Using the abuse of documented and undocumented immigrants to clout chase for your own gain is beyond disgusting. Since when have you ever shown any interest in these issues? Which is another point I made as well. I say made, not in this video, I've made with a friend, right? The fact that this person has never posted anything in favor of... and in fact, not even mentioned, they posted overtly racist stuff, right? Before in the past. And now suddenly doing a 180. In my experience, when people do that sort of thing and suddenly decide to grow a conscience and do something good and stuff like that out of nowhere when they've done it, never done it before in the past, is a sign that they have ulterior motives. And in this case, it turned out to be true. Do not say I saw a POC cosplayers the most, or I attended a BLM protest to photograph like you did before. You are not the ally you think you are. MCM/ReedPop do not fund or give intel to ICE. So let me look into more of this. I'm making you guys do your own research and learn how to recognize aggressive doing rage bait when you see one, which is the vibe he's currently giving off. Believes in research play would make a big gymnast impressed. So this is what I posted earlier. Based on the limited evidence provided, it appears that LexisNexis is a subsidiary company of RELX. Yep, they're a conglomerate. ReedPop is currently headed by this guy, who I can't find anything on in regards to LexisNexis. He is on the convention side of things and overseeing the event management. I need more information about how directly read FYI, the very phone we use and get upgrades for. We support the mass extreme violence against women and girls, boys, Congo, Trump, okay. If you really want to talk about boycotting companies, maybe start looking at home first. I'm going to move on to the next one. If it doesn't in fact turn out that ReedPop themselves are providing intel for the deportation of undocumented persons in the States, that is certainly one thing. The overseeing company RELX that ReedPop is under umbrella companies does not indeed have LexisNexis as a subsidiary company, which is worrying. I'm not disputing that. That's essentially what my takeaway is. It seems like LexisNexis is indeed providing data to ICE to conduct raids on, but like, if you're concerned about supporting them in any way, shape or form, like, yeah, maybe you can boycott MCM because funding ReedPop puts money into the pocket of RELX, even though they're a very small part of RELX. It's like, essentially, it's like, at that point, it's kind of like a friend of a friend, and it's like you should lend money to them because the friend of the friend is, you know, maybe they're going to a birthday party with someone you don't like. It's probably the best analogy I can give. But like I said, I don't think it's enough for people to then start hating on MCM or sending hate messages to ReedPop or MCM or anyone who's attending the event. Because you're making mountains out of molehills at that point because it's such a small percentage. Like this post is trying to, like the one previously, sorry, not this one. This one is like trying to say, like, the people who are currently working at ReedPop aren't directly involved with LexisNexis. They might be under the same company and same conglomerate, but they aren't like It's a case of like the best example I can give is the fucking government today, right? How the NHS is government funded, and so is the DWP, but like they don't have access to each other's information, right? So like if you went to the DWP and said, hey, I've lost both of my legs, as you can see, in Afghanistan or something, I need disability benefits, they could just check your medical records, because both are part of the government, and say, oh yes, this doctor has said that you've lost your legs, that we can very clearly see. We should probably fast track this instead of making you do a mountain of paperwork to prove it. But no, they fucking don't. They make you go to the doctor to get a written document and go through all these hoops to prove something that they can very clearly see. That's the only thing I can think of comparing this to. Like, they might be part of the same body, but the left hand is not talking to the right hand. Nexus Part 3 TLDR. LexisNexis are an AI data company who have been shown to actually be giving data to ISIS what they collect. This company is not a fucking issue. This company is a fucking issue, not the nerd sphere. To the Moon Expo yesterday is heading by Trump and Musk. This is mostly whataboutisms, so I'm gonna skip past that. Again, separate company entirely from ReedPop, owned by the same parent company, but they are not working together. I mean, Reed basically made some Hex has been blacklisted from the event and problematic anyways. I'll be honest, the whole thing reads a lot more like they have a personal problem with Hex. Valid, as you should. This guy's not a good person. I already know this much already. This person is fucking terrible. But that doesn't mean I'm going to discredit what they're saying. I do want to look at it with obviously I'm going to take a pinch of salt. I partner with the organization for these events. Straight up said all this misinformation, talk spreading has been banned for photography inside the XL. This is what I mentioned. He's banned from conducting photography inside the XL. Oh no, this is slightly different. He caused someone to have an epileptic fit. I was told another reason as well. He's been basically the rules of the convention is you're not allowed to charge for photography at the event, right? And he's been known to try and charge for it, which is one of the reasons why a lot of photographers in the scene don't like him. And also people who do photo shoots and stuff. Please stop harassing threatening MCM staff. This is something I definitely want to hammer home. I know people don't like supporting RELX or the idea of LexisNexis supporting ICE deportations and raids, but that doesn't mean you should be attacking staff members at a fucking Comic Con. Right, this is the important bit here. Yes, supporting MCM supports RELX by a teeny percentage by proxy, but so does supporting many UK universities, law firms, insurance providers. The way I'm seeing it's like BlackRock, which is a big company that owns so many things, it's virtually impossible not to support them. That's what it seems like to me. But if you want to try avoiding it as much as possible, yeah, feel free to boycott MCM. Like I said, there are bigger reasons to boycott things like MCM Comic Con. Big reason for me is the fact that they still allow scam bags or mystery bags, which are essentially just scams, where they have like an anime bag with loads of fake cheap merchandise and they charge a premium for it, pretending that maybe you might be able to get some really cool merchandise in it, which is absolutely bullshit. But because they're sealed, no one checks them. There's loads of AI stuff at MCM as well. I've seen so many fucking AI. I've seen people buying them knowingly. And the worst part is, right, people will buy it saying, oh, I'm just a really big fan of the character, right? That's why I want to buy this thing that has them on it. Motherfucker, that's the wrong character on the thing. Like, I've seen people buying mouse pads, right, of Naked Snake from Metal Gear Solid. And he has an eye patch on both of his eyes. And they're like, oh, I'm just such a big fan of the character. Motherfucker, how big of a fan can you be when you're buying something with such an obvious mistake? Honestly, I think people who support AI need to be fucking institutionalized. I don't know how you get so, like, fucking brain dead. Thanks, the only time you should ever buy a mystery bag at a convention is if you need something to throw up in. That's the only time I can recommend buying a mystery bag. Right, also this last story here. I personally have managed to boycott a good few of them. Oh yeah, if you want to boycott the BDS movement, just look that up. There's loads of things you can boycott, like, you know, McDonald's, Starbucks, all that sort of thing. In fact, speaking of, if you still like coffee and you don't want to support Starbucks, Cafe Nero is a good alternative to go for. And I know they're also a brand that's very readily available. Like, I think the point this person was trying to make, that it's literally impossible to boycott everything, but like, if you want to make an attempt to do your best to do so, it's certainly possible. With companies like RELX, no, there's definitely truth to the fact that they've been providing information to ICE. So like, I'm not going to completely discredit this video, despite knowing the person who made it isn't exactly the best. If the exhibitions only make up 13% of profits, RELX and MCM percentage of that is 13%, how will boycott MCM ReedPop events help? Yeah, they make the lion's share of money from data brokers. Like, the amount you'd be spending, you giving, would be very small in comparison, but like, if you don't want to give any money at all, you can definitely just skip out. And do you know what? No, yeah, just fucking support better conventions. Go to MegaCon, that's better. I much prefer that one. I am all for supporting other smaller conventions. Don't go to the Anime League ones, they're obviously very bad for a whole other reason. I already have videos about that though. But yeah, don't fall for this shit, right? If you want to boycott them, there are many reasons why you should boycott them. In fact, you know what I'll do? Next time I apply for a Creator Pass for MCM, I never pay for it. I'm going to link them to this video and see if I get approved. Because I shit talk them so much. And somehow I always get approved for London. I'm not sure what it is. But we'll see. You know what? Maybe I'll apply for it in October. I don't plan on going, but I'll see if I can get the pass anyway. Yeah, big up. MegaCon is so much better. It's run by the people who used to own MCM before ReedPop decided to buy it from them. They're called ReedPop for a reason. But MegaCon is much cheaper. And just much better run, to be honest. It's wild because the price for MCM just keeps going up to the point where they have a VIP ticket that's worth £200 now. This convention, people, right? When the prices went to £60, people were so fucking up in arms about that. And now it's shot up to £200 for a VIP ticket. Which gives you barely any extra benefits compared to the regular ticket. It's actually insane to me that people aren't being louder about it. I think they're just exhausted at this point. I think people are exhausted of constantly being mad at them for, you know, hiking up prices, knowing absolutely that they'll do it again. Zero hesitation. But yeah, I'm going to edit this bit down for YouTube later. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Tell everyone about your favorite con that isn't MCM or Anime Con so people know where to go. If you have any information about Hex that you'd want to share, go right ahead, because I know a lot of people who did give me information probably don't want me to repeat that, because it is very personal, but it's also a very big reason why he's not a good person.